Thank you guys so much for joining me and Luke. My name is Anna, and today Luke Norland is going to be going over how to personalize your RadarOpus program. And Luke has been using RadarOpus for so many years, right, Luke? You've just used the program forever.
Yeah, I probably spend most days I spend at least a few hours using the program. So yeah, I know the ins and the outs.
Yeah, you really do. And so we're really happy to have you here. Thank you for doing this for the community.
Oh, that's all right. Pleasure.
And then if you guys have questions, please, you can write them in the Q&A. That would be the easiest for me so I can keep track of them instead of the chat box. So you can write a question there and I'll just kind of ask Luke as we go. But we'll probably have a lot of questions. So we'll also ask questions at the end. Okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. Well, you can get started, Luke.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, basically RadarOpus is a really comprehensive program, but it can be hard to find out where everything is and to get the program working in a way that suits you and your workflow. So just going to try and bring you into my world where you can optimize and personalize your program. So we're just going to go through some of it's pretty basic and you might have already done, but changing the color palette and font. That's important because Mac and Windows deal with fonts in different ways. So the program loads with Verdana as the main font, which looks really good on Windows, but for some reason I find less good on a Mac. And I use a Mac, so I played around with some fonts and I can show you which I think is the best for a Mac. Reducing screen overwhelm. One of the things we've got in RadarOpus 2.2 is the option to remove the clipboards and the icons in the toolbar, which gives you a bit more space. And if you're very accustomed to the program and you use the keyboard shortcuts, then that's one thing you can do to sort of reduce some of the overwhelm on the screen. So that really ties in with point 3. So we're going to look at the table of content. We're going to go into all the different configuration parts of each aspect of the program, starting with the table of contents, moving on to repertory, the references, the patient file, and the analysis. So let's open RadarOpus here. Just want to check you can all see RadarOpus now, rather than the presentation. If someone can... Yeah, perfect. Thanks. Okay, so as you probably all already know, on the left side is the table of contents and the right side, the content area, where you have tabs with repertories, materia medica, your analysis, etc. So over here, this cogwheel is the configuration or options button. Actually, I've jumped ahead one step. So I'm just going to open the global preferences. So on a Mac, you go up to RadarOpus, click on preferences, or you use the shortcut, which is Command, the same for all Mac applications. On a Windows, confusingly, you go up to tools and then you go to options, which is here on the Windows version. So if I open my preferences here, I can change the default font for my documents. Click on the drop-down arrow. You can either scroll or type. And I think Avenir looks really nice on a Mac. So for you Mac users, go for that and set the default size to 16. That just seems to work well. And that's the main thing here, really, with the global preferences. But we could also, if I show you the patient setup, so you can see here for today, I've got the hide patient names option enabled, which is very useful if you're ever teaching or presenting cases so that you're not giving away any information. So here you've got some writing which you can personalize. If you're somebody who prints off prescription sort of from the program, you can actually change what's written here. So you can personalize it in that way. But also if you click on consultation up here, you can change the font and the size for your text editor in the patient file as well. So I've set that to Avenir here as well. But you can change it to whatever you like. So it's nice you can have it a separate font to repertories and references. And then you can also, if you have the like diamond engine of RadarOpus, the top engine, you get an option to like grade unlimited number of symptoms in the patient file. And here you can also change the color and the font. So for each, you know, when you want to mark something as italic, bold, or underlined in the patient file, you can set the color and you can set the font, and you can set the font size, and you can do that all here. So this is nice. You can just change this to something that suits you. Okay, so that's really what we're going to be looking at in the global preferences, or general options as it's called. And then the rest of the time we're going to be looking in what we call local options. So you can see whenever you move the mouse onto something, you'll be given a little pop-up which says what it's going to do. So in the table of contents here, you can see I've got my repertories. Now by default, your program will look more like this, maybe without that one. Do you see already, like, unless you're a multilingual user, you don't need to see that it's an English document, because that's all you're going to be reading really. So in my view, you can remove the language flag, unless of course you are using multiple languages. The icons, maybe you like them. For me, I don't really need to see them, so I'm going to get rid of those too. The selection boxes you will need when you want to make a document mix, which we're going to look at, but generally I get rid of them. And I don't need to see the document abbreviation, because you only really need to know that if you're like an Uber nerd and you're working on the development of the program. So there, we've already got rid of some stuff. Also, if you click languages here, by default, your program might come with all languages. And, you know, if like me, you've got the full program, there's going to be a lot there. So the quickest way is just to deselect all and then click English or whichever language you're using. And then here, sorting. So nature of document, that's fine. So it goes by repertories first. That's useful. So I've changed it to show me the title first rather than the name of the author, because I remember things by their name, synthesis or thematic repertory, or yeah, botanical repertory here by Yakir, which is something I've been working on with her. So it goes title, then author, then language. But what I've done is change the title from A to Z. So by default, I'll show you what you get. It's author, title, A to Z. And then yeah, and then display, the author is in front of, so it looks more like that normally, yeah. So what I've done, I go to the options and then display, I'm going to change the authors to behind the document title. Then I'm going to go to sorting and I'm going to list them by title and change it from Z to A, so I get synthesis closer to the top. It's my main repertory. And then by author. And then that's it, really. Once you've done that, you can forget about it. Okay. And then the other nice thing you can do is to click the drop down, and then you see the icons for synthesis in the table of contents. And on a Mac, you hold down Command and use your 2-finger gesture with the trackpad, or if you have a mouse, you use the middle scroll wheel, and then you can resize here if you like. And for Windows, whenever I say Command, because I use a Mac, just it means control on a Windows. So control, hold down control and use your scroll wheel to change size. Okay, and you can do the same in references if you like. Actually here, I think it makes more sense to have the name of the author in front of the book. But again, I've got rid of all this stuff because you don't need it. And it just takes up space. And then languages, you might need to do the same. Sorting, I've just changed it to Z to A because I quite like Vermeulen, so I have him at the top. So that's it really with table of contents. So any quick questions now before I move on?
No, I think we're good, Luke.
We're all good? Everyone understanding that? Cool. Okay, so Okay, so let's go through the repertory options. So the first thing to say, when you're navigating the program, if you double click the tab, it hides the table of contents for you or opens it depending on the, depending on the state of play. So that's nice. So you can open it up and you can do the same zoom with the command or control and the scroll wheel. And then the main options are over here. You click the same button. So you can view the document in one column or two. And sometimes people get confused. They say, oh, my cross-references have gone. That's usually because they've inadvertently unticked these options here. So synonyms are basically where the rubric abandoned takes you to the rubric forsaken feeling, which is the, the rubric from Kent. So it's like just a synonym. So it's sort of directing you there. And just by default, you would double click to move to the referring rubric. The other thing you can do actually in terms of personalizing, if I open the general options again and go to mouse, I have mine like this. So some of these, so if I want to click on a remedy or a cross-reference or synonym, it just takes a single click to move there rather than a double click. And likewise for remedies and analysis. And these two I keep as they are. So that's another way you can personalize the sort of workflow of your program. You can have bookmarks showing as well if you use bookmarks, which I will show you, talk to you about bookmarks a little bit. And you can show tags for here. So I've got the Ortega miasms showing here and the veterinary rubric display showing there. And then the other thing you can do is obviously change the background color. That works better when you've got show the repertory in one column. Otherwise, there's a sort of slightly unsightly white line there at the moment, which we need to work on. But you can quickly change the color of your repertory and see it works a bit better with one column there. But I quite like looking at it slightly off white. If I'm going to be using the program a lot, the white gets a bit tiring sometimes. So, those are things you can play with if you're using the program a lot. So these other things here, you can pretty much set and forget. Remedies and authors, this is quite useful. Sometimes I like to change the remedy sorting to look at descending degree. So it shows me all of the bold type remedies first, and then the italic, and then the plain type. So you can, again, if you want to change it, you click the local options button, and then you change this to ascending, and then it goes back to normal. You can also view the repertory in a way where you're only seeing italic and plain type, if that floats your boat. And then up here, we've got options to show or hide the author references, and that's useful to sort of check where the information is coming from and whether you trust or mistrust that particular author, or you want to find out which document it came from or which proving it came from. So that's just this icon here. And also sometimes it's helpful to remove the remedies from the repertory view, because there are times when you have a case and you think it's going to be this remedy, so you sort of have that in your mind, and then you might not choose a rubric because your chosen remedy isn't there. So by doing this, you can get rid of that subconscious bias. And then of course, if you hover over the number, it shows you what's in there anyway. So it means you can move around and perhaps see the sub-rubrics more easily with the viewing it like this. And then in terms of navigation, obviously you've got the binoculars here that opens the navigation window. But let's say you're inside the rubric. Let's go back to forsaken feeling. That's a good point. There's also preferences for the navigation window. If I open those, I have this one selected, stay in the same chapter when typing. That means you don't have to type mind, forsaken, or generals, food and drinks. If you're in generals, you just type food and then you're there. So personally, I find that easier. So let's say you're at this rubric, and let's put the remedies back in, and you want to go straight into that point in the navigation window. You press F3, and then it takes you in, and you can go straight through the sub rubrics there. Okay.
And Luke, we have a couple
Yep.
questions. So
Okay.
can you go over changing? Okay, so there's a couple questions about the repertories, like grouping
Yep.
reps or the preferred order of reps.
All right. So what, in terms of this, how they display in the table of contents?
Yeah, like the preferred order, and then also if it's possible to group certain reps together that you want.
So we're working on, in the update, you'll be able to set your favorite documents, and they'll go to the top by default, but that feature isn't available yet. So for now, the best thing you can do is to click on repertories, open the local options here, go to sorting, change the change it so it sorts by title before author, and then change it to Z to A rather than A to Z. And then synthesis is much closer to the top. And that's the main thing you can do, I think, that is helpful. And then the other thing you need to do is display and change authors to, normally they're like that. So you change them to behind the title. So then you'll see first synthesis. I mean, if you like, you can even get rid of the author name, and then it's like there's even less there. Yeah. So it looks less like so much stuff, you know.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. And then you said the grouping will be possible soon.
Not grouping, but you'll be able to set your preferred, like your favorites, and they'll always be at the top. So it is a kind of grouping, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then, but what you can do is create a document mix, which I was going to show later on once we look at the functionality side of things. So that's sort of the same. Yeah. And also there's a search area as well. So I was going to go look at that.
And then Luke, is there a shortcut for the keyboard shortcuts? I know that I've seen it before.
Okay, click on help and then click on useful shortcuts. And then it opens up in your PDF application, and then it's got all the shortcuts there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. The other thing is a lot of them require, like any of the F keys require you to hold down the function key first, unless you change that in your like main computer preferences. So on some Windows, it's different. On a Mac, I can't remember exactly how to do it now. Keyboard. But you can change the, here you go. Use F1, F2 as standard function keys. That way, instead of doing like changing the brightness of the screen or the brightness of the keyboard on your Mac, you'll be able to use them in RadarOpus instead and learn all of the F function key commands in RadarOpus. So that's what I do. And then if you want to change the brightness on your Mac, you hold down the function key, which is FN, which is the bottom left key on your Mac keyboard. On Windows, it's slightly different for each one. You need to like go on Google, type the name of your computer and ask how to turn off, how to use the F keys as standard function keys. So that's your shortcuts. Let's just make a quick analysis here. So F6 opens up this window, which is to take symptoms. And here I'm just going to take the cross references of Forsaken Feeling with all rubrics individually, just to build a quick analysis. So that should open up there. Apologies, is running a bit slow. As you can see, I've made loads and loads and loads of additions to the repertory. So these are things that are going to be possibly included in the next synthesis. So I'm just going to sort those. So it's like a kind of meta-analysis of all the cross-references of Forsakenness there. So I've got an analysis open. So in here, you can change lots of things, mostly visual things, so you can add a shadow to the waffles, show grid lines, show the tooltips. Now I find these really annoying because they just sort of come up and they don't tell you very much. I mean, they're useful on the remedies. In a way, it would be better if they were sort of decoupled and you could show the tooltips on remedies, but not on rubrics. So anyway, I turn those off. And this one, you don't really need unless you're using polarity analysis. So that's, you can have it displayed like that. I personally keep it pretty clean. You can also, you don't need to show the numerical order of the remedies if you're not fussed, of the exact position that your remedy is. So that, takes up less room doing that. So if you do that, this first number is the number of symptoms, and then it's the number of symptoms plus the degrees there. Okay, and then obviously if you click here, you can change the color of your waffles. And it tends to be quite good to go for, if you want to see the waffle with the number, you need to use a sort of more pastel type shade, but you can of course just show the waffle as long as you are happy with what they're displaying, or you can just show the degrees as well if you want it super clean. So normally I have it set like this really, but if I'm showing the program to people, they're like, what do all the different colors mean? So I have it set to both. And then here you see there's two options here. You can either have it set to remedies or clipboards. And this is if you're doing like using multiple clipboards. So again, you can remove the line. You can have a line display or just get rid of it entirely. So then if I put some of these into a separate clipboard, clipboard 2. So I've got 34 here. And then if I click here, they appear and they're merged. Or I can have it like this, that they're divided and it says the clipboard name. And if you name your clipboards, then, you're going to want that there. But I usually keep with this, and then it's, just takes up less space.
And Luke, can you show how to cross-reference, cross-examine again?
Oh, to like put all the rubrics in from one cross-reference?
Yes.
Yeah. Let me just delete those a minute. So let's go to a different symptom. So let's go to, let's see what I have in my bookmarks. Bookmarks. Go to ailments from, and go to ailments from, let's see, approaches. I've obviously turned off my cross-references. So there we go, expand the cross-references so I can see them. If you do turn them off, you can always see them by holding the mouse against the cross-references icon, and you can scroll down and see them. So there we go, there's a lot there. Sensitive ailments from reproaches. So if you don't use the shortcut, which is F6, you go to the take button and click on the little drop down arrow, and then you say take and specify the options. Then, sorry, I'm using two screens, so I have to pull this over. This one appears and you say also take cross-references, and I'm going to take them all individually for this example, and then take, and you'll see in my analysis I've got all 33, and then I do Command A and sort because they go out of order. And that's it. Really nice little feature for learning the cross-references. Yeah, so there we go. Any other questions on that?
Yeah, thank you. And then somebody's asking how to unmerge the rubrics, which you merged.
Okay, so I haven't actually merged any yet.
Okay.
If I do, let's say I want to merge all of them, do Command A, and then Command Enter brings up the group or combine window. So you've got two options here. You can either combine by assigning them a letter, combine, and that can always be undone. But obviously it remains as a sort of, you see all of the constituent rubrics. So I'll just do Command A again to select all. It's very windy here. And then ungroup them. So that you can always ungroup. However, if you choose to merge them combine them, then they will just be, you can't undo that operation. So that's it now, can't be undone. So that at present, those are your two options. Okay. Alrighty, so I think we've covered those things. So if we move on to the functionality side of things, yeah, let's do that. If I show you this. So bookmarks are quite useful. I don't know if any of you are using them yet, but they can provide quite a quick way to navigate around to your favorite repertories and materia medicas. Making a document mix is also something I'd thoroughly recommend. It can take a bit of time to get one, but that way you can put all of your favorite things in one place, and that's pretty awesome. And then also saving and recalling search presets. That's something I'm not sure if anyone's doing as yet. I've started doing it because sometimes when you use the simple search, you can actually do quite complex things. And if you save those as presets, it saves a lot of time. Then creating search areas, that's a sort of bit like a document mix, but it's more like you choose certain chapters from repertories and put them in a search area and then tell the program to go look there. So that can be useful too. It's a bit like if you were to use the advanced search and type in, a chapter, it's kind of like doing that, but like a drag and drop style. So maybe it's a bit quicker for some people. Yes. Yeah.
Luke, does everybody have bookmarks available to them?
Yeah, I'd need to check the RadarOpus.com engine differentiation chart
Okay.
to be certain, but I would say maybe the people with a mini engine don't have it, but I think most other engines have it.
Okay, perfect.
But if you're ever in doubt, go to RadarOpus.com. Oops, don't need to show that, do I? Hang on. Go to RadarOpus.com and then RadarOpus engine types feature comparison. And then it shows you here, so you can take a look through there, check which engine you have, and then go find the feature and see if you've got it. Okay. So let me just go back to the PowerPoint there. Okay, I've got a case I can demonstrate some stuff in. Yeah, so the other things you can do is, apart from search areas, there's things you can do to change how the search displays, which we'll show you. Like you can view the summary and you can view the results all in one list. You can also make additions to the synthesis repertory. So if you're reading a Materia Medica document and it has like a new remedy in it or some new information, you can add that into your synthesis. So I'll show you how to do that. And then lastly, I'm going to show you how you can create your own tags in the patient file, although that does require the Diamond engine to be able to do that. So let's have a look at bookmarks first. So bookmarks you make, let's say you're in the repertory and you want to make a bookmark to this symptom. So you right click or control click on a Mac, and then you go to bookmarks, add a bookmark, name it, and then save. Okay, and if you've got bookmarks, show the bookmarks option highlighted here, then you'll see the little bookmark icon, but otherwise it won't show. which, you know, doesn't really matter. So you click onto bookmarks, and then let's say, so what I've got here is I've set up some sort of shortcuts essentially. So when I name them, I sort of numbered them, so they're always going to be at the top. So let's say I want to go to synthesis delusions. I double click and it takes me there. Or I say I want to open Murphy at the clinical chapter, double click and it opens Murphy. Or I want to open my thematic repertory, double click. So this is probably the fastest way to open up your documents that you use often. And then QRep, for example. But with bookmarks, you can also save, like say you're researching something for a homework or for teaching. Let's see. Let's try this one. It's an interesting proving of Firefly. So I was reading it and I found this particular part, bookmarked it, so I can always get back there. Just going to close that window. Let's see. And if you click in here and then start typing, you can move to something. So here I've created a bookmark for BML10, which is the synoptic reference. That's the author code. So here I've bookmarked it, and these are editions from Massimo Mangialavori. He gives the key up here, so you can see they're from Massimo. So if I'm at this symptom now, so I'm going to show you how to make an edition here. You can either right click, go to edit the current symptom, add a remedy, including the source text, or you can do Command F7. Okay, that's it. Click yes. And then it takes me to synthesis. Then I go to start typing, sensitive, music, sacred, and then the command is Command F7, and then it makes that addition for me for Lilium Tigrinum to that rubric. And then the shortcut to move back to Materia Medica is Alt-2, and then Alt-1 to go to a repertory. So I can toggle between them like that. Alt-2, Alt-1. So compulsive disorders. Let's see. I don't think synthesis has it, but let's type and see which synonym it has. So it takes me to thoughts compelling. So click there, do Command F7, and it adds it. And you can see here ritualistic. So I'll put that there as well. Command F7. So you can personalize your synthesis in this way. Elegance, very important. Let's look for elegance, see if that's yeah. Okay. Anyway, there's more I could put in there, but I'll have to brief. So we'll leave that for now. But I just wanted to show you how quickly you can personalize your repertory too. Okay, so that's bookmarks, and that's making additions, and then okay, so searching. Let's do document mix next. So I'm trying to fit a lot in. So for document mix, you have to go back to, let's say, repertories. So click your repertories icon, or Command 1 is the shortcut. Open the options, and then we're going to show the display boxes. We'll do the same for our references. Okay, let's say I want to use synthesis, Patricia Hatherley's Lax, my thematic repertory, and the two sensations as if, and Fatak's concise, and Murphy repertory 3, and let's say that's it. Oh, let's put mental qualities in. So let's say that's my document mix. Okay, these are my favorite repertories I want to use. So now they're ticked, I go up to File, Save Selection as a Document Mix. I call it, give it a name. Okay, that's why that's doing that. Okay, and then choose a place to keep it. I put mine in Radar, Documents, Mix, Files, Save. Okay, so that now is my document mix, and If I want to now search in that document mix, I click on search. Search. There we go. And then let's say I want to search for heat of the vertex. I go to A to Z, and then I say current document mix. And there we have it. Those are my documents I had selected. Okay, and let's say I wanted to take everything from all of those. One way I can do it is to click on the graph icon, and it extracts a quick graph for me. And that's a quick way of seeing the results. And then if I click, let's say on Blatter, double click rather, then it opens in the repertory from which it came. Interesting, that. Didn't know that. This is an amazing repertory. Robert's sensations as if. And then you see in my search, I've got two tabs open. This the second one I can double click and that will just remove it there. Okay, and so let's say I wanted to combine all of that into one rubric. So I'm happy with that. Put view all documents in one list, selected. And then the shortcut is the same as combining a rubric in the analysis, Command Enter. But if you don't remember that, you do right click, take all rubrics, create a new combined. There we go, you can see them going in. When it gets to 60, I get a new rubric, and there we go. There's my rubric, combining my favorite repertories rather than just synthesis. So I've added, you know, sort of 6 remedies there and maybe some different gradings as well. Okay, so you can personalize the way that you work in terms of which documents you're searching in and combining. So the next stage is to combine repertories and references together. So let's say I'm going to put the Vermeulen Concordant Reference, Synoptic Reference, Prisma, Vista Vintage, and the Vitolcus Essences, you know, etc. You get the idea. So you go through, you pick the ones you want to include, then I'll save that again. So go up to File, Save Selections, Document Mix. Save. And now when I search, so vertex heat. So you see, now I've got Materia Medica in there. Let's see what happens. Search in the document mix. So I've got some Materia Medica here now. So if it's all in the same short line, that kind of search is fine. But if it's like a long paragraph, you can see they're not actually connected there. So you need to add a word wrap or a proximity to that search. So let me show you how I do that in the saved search queries that I've made, and I can share those with you. So let me just go ahead and click on that eraser. And I'm going to open, recall a search using the folder opening icon. There we go. Opens up my search queries. And I'm going to go for this one, which is a 2-word proximity search, open. And it's got it sort of ready-made. So I go head. No, it's vertex heat, wasn't it? Vertex. So basically with the asterisk there, you don't need to finish the word. It's going to find, it would actually find vertical then, and heat or head. So actually I need to probably do that. It's not the best example. But anyway, the asterisk at the end of the word means that it will give you different grammatical endings of that word. And the $4 means that it's going to look for them within 4 words of each other. Then I just go ahead and search in my document mix. And you'll see the searches, it's gone for vertebrae as well. So let's just put vertex in. There we go. So now I can do the same thing. These are all correct. They found them together within a proximity of each other rather than from different parts of the paragraph. And then I can do Command Enter, and it will create me one rubric from everything here. So references and repertories all combined, my favorite documents. And then you just have to be a little bit more patient, rename, and now it's gone up to 89. Yeah. So this is very much how I work in the program, trying to utilize the whole of the RadarOpus database. Okay, so let me show you some other things in the search. Let's just broaden out this search now to, let's look in references of this type, provings. So now I'm looking in all the provings here to see where there's vertex of the head. And you can view the summary, which is quite nice because it shows you the remedies here. And also you get a kind of preview of the full text. If you hover over it, it'll show you the full text there. And for this, you need to like zoom in a little bit to be able to read it well. But I find this quite a nice view when you're searching in references there. And just make that a bit smaller. You can do the same thing from here. You can take all rubrics, create a new combined rubric from all those provings. And give it a name, vertex. And then if you wanted to, you could just combine all of these. So hold down Command, click on each one, then do Command Enter again, and combine, get rid of those, combine. There we have it. I've built a sort of more complete rubric there for my symptom. And that way you're less likely to miss indicated remedies. Okay, everyone happy so far?
Yeah, so Luke, we have a couple questions. So
Okay.
there is a lot of interest with the bookmark. So when you make a bookmark, how do you retrieve it?
You click on bookmarks and then you basically you scroll to find it, or you start typing, like type the first letter of the name that you gave it. Or you see, like I did, when you want to create like shortcuts, you put a number first. So let's say, you know, naught would be your like most favorite document. You put a naught in front of the name and then you name it. So if I go ahead and show you, let's go to Murphy, go to his next chapter, constitutions. Okay, let's say this is super important for me. I right click, bookmark, add a bookmark. Then I call this 0.1 Murphy constitutions, save. Okay, now I go to bookmarks. You see it there? So I can now move between clinical, constitutions, synthesis, delusions.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah?
Yeah, somebody's
Have a
saying,
play.
okay, perfect. Yeah, and if they don't have the icon at the top, like the actual bookmark icon, then they might not have bookmarks.
You might need, if you want it, you might need to get an engine upgrade, yeah, or a package upgrade if you want to add bookmarks, yeah. Sorry.
And then with the additions, can we create, somebody's asking, can you create your own repertory?
You can only make additions to synthesis, but what's going to happen when we release our next version is you're going to be able to create your own rubrics. So you can essentially create your own repertory from within synthesis by making your own rubrics.
Okay,
so,
perfect.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can create your own like rubric anywhere you like in synthesis and then add sub rubrics to it. And that would become your own little repertory within. But for now, no, you can only make additions to existing rubrics.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. And if you want to make your own clinical editions using your own name, you can contact your dealer and they'll speak to the office and they can create your own author reference code and you can make your own editions that way.
Perfect.
So
okay.
that is also possible. Okay, how are we doing? So search areas, that's another thing you can do. We've done document mix. Search area. So let me show you that. Let's say I wanted to go into Murphy clinical. If I want to put that in my search area, I just pick it up and drag it in. Let me just check. And then you click on it to check, and there you see that it's there, and you're happy. So let's just see what else I can find. If I search for clinical in my repertories. I'll see Clark's got quite a lot there. So I double click there on Clark and I drag Clark across to the search area too. Ward also has a clinical section, so I'm going to double click there and drag that to my search area. And that is enough, I would say. So I've got a clinical search area here. What I do now is I just go over and search for something. My mind's not on the case, so I'm just going to search for heat again because it's already in my mind. And then we click on the current search area. Okay, and then it just finds whatever is there in those documents. Oh, great. Never mind. My pointer tool has quit, but I'm sure it doesn't matter too much. Okay, so that's the search area. That's basically it. It's quite useful. But let's say you were in, you know, synthesis, and you wanted to check out just the generals. You could pop the generals into your search area, and then that didn't work, did it? Go to generals and then actually go to that point and then put that in the search area, and then you could delete these ones. And you could also save your search areas. So let's say you wanted to save that first one I made, you just click save here and you name it, and it by default it goes to your search queries folder. Okay, so that is the search area. Search options, I've kind of showed you how to look at the summary and view all documents in one list. In terms of other search preferences, this option is quite useful. So sometimes when I'm searching to be able to see more results, I hide the clipboards and the icons. So I've got more space in which to work. And then what you can do is, let's say you wanted to take this symptom, you can just do it with one click because I've got this option selected. So here, so just one click, and that has gone into my clipboard. So now when I show the toolbar and the clipboards and click, then you can see that they've gone into my clipboard there. Okay, that's that. So some of the other search queries that you can do is like this one, for example. So you see, like, it's actually quite complicated, but this takes you directly to, let's say, I do all of this and put the word floating, then search in all open repertories, for example. So because I'm looking for sensation, feeling, or delusion, or dream, then it kind of finds everything like that for me. So it's a nice shortcut. I'll show you another example like that. This one is set up to look for a remedy. So I've got all of those things there, and I can just type in a remedy, and then that should do the same search, but looking for the remedies. So it's looking for any of the sensations, delusions, dreams, fears of Thuya. So these are things I'm happy to share with you guys. These search queries, I can potentially just put a zip file in the chat once we get to the Q&A if you would like to receive these. And there's a few different ones there. So yeah, they might seem a bit cryptic, but if you have questions, you can always find me on Facebook. We have a Facebook user group for RadarOpus called RadarOpus Community. So come and join. Okay, and then lastly, the patient file. Sorry, is there a question there, Anna?
Yeah, so Luke, when you're showing everything, sometimes you're enlarging the text. Is there a shortcut to do that?
So there's different options here. You can either use the zoom in, zoom out icons at the top there with the icon bars, and that will do, like, for the whole program, it will zoom in or zoom out everywhere. So
Okay.
in repertories, references, analysis, etc. But if you want to do it in just the document you're in, on a Mac, you hold down Command and then you use the scroll wheel if you've got an external mouse, or the 2-finger gesture on a trackpad.
Okay, perfect. And then,
So
yeah, a lot of people are asking about the search function and how to use it. And that is such a huge, that could be its own webinar. And I will make sure to have that webinar planned within the next few weeks for you all.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. There's so many things you can do in the search. It's like mind-boggling. But
I know, and I use that all the time. And I posted a couple videos. There's a lot of questions about it, but I'll have a whole webinar in just the search function. Since there's a lot of questions. Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, and then with the patient file, you see I've opened my patient, and basically if you have the Diamond package, your patient file gets like supercharged. You can add as many attachments to it as you like. You can see here I've got a PDF file there. If I click on the PDF, it opens the here, and I can check. I've done a printout of the email conversations that we had, so that's there. So this, by default, it goes to your last consultation, but I'm going to go to the initial consultation. So click here, and the patient file is great because you can, see the first one on top of the second one. So as you're writing and talking with your patient, you can be referring back to what they said in the initial consultation or the prior one. So if you want to just remove that for now, you click here, and there it goes. So now I'm just looking at the first consultation now, and you can see I've got some other attachments here, some different screenshots, the new patient form, etc. So that's one thing you can do. The other thing you can do in terms of personalizing, you can see that I've changed the significance of different parts of the text by these buttons here. You can set it as that's sort of italic, or that's sort of bold, or that's underlined. And then when you come to analyze the case, you can right click the patient file and then sort the symptoms by decreasing intensity. So this is like super useful function. It really is amazing. And then you can see which symptoms you wanted to maybe go and find rubrics for first, or if you're working in a thematic way, you might say these are the really important themes or the really characteristic language the patient used. So that's very helpful. So I right click and then untick that option. In terms of personalizing, the other thing you can do is create your own tags. So you can tag any bit of text any way you like, essentially. So you can see here I've created one for modality. So basically, if you have the Diamond version, you can do this. You have the mouse cursor in this right-hand column, and then you click F9 or this arrow here, F9, and you see this list comes up, and you click the plus, and then you can add anything you like. So it could be a miasm, it could be, you could say this is a concomitant. So let's put that in, concomitant, and maybe you don't have to type the full words, you just do that. And then you click the disk, and then you've got concomitant there. So there we go. And there's already one made for you, but here's the one I just made. Double click. So you can see I've got modality and concomitant there, which isn't correct, but I can live with that. So whenever you make a change in the patient file, you click the disk icon to save. Okay, and then what you can do, it doesn't stop there. You right click and then you limit the text to the symptoms tagged as modalities, and then you just see the modalities, which is nice. Or you can do anything that you've tagged. So let's say I've said that some features of the case belong to themes with the right side of the periodic table, so I can see those. And then I could just maybe take some of this text and go to my mind map program. Simple Mind. It's good, it's cheap, it's useful. And then I could just put those all into one box. My mind map. Yeah, you know, not the best example, but it just goes to show how you can sort your information. Okay. And then the other nice thing that you probably have never looked at in the patient file is this, the consultation free fields. So basically this, you can do whatever you want here. You click on the pencil and you can say this is, you know, to do with diagnosis, pathology, history, observation, etc. This is a little bit based on Rajan Sankaran's 8-box method, where you sort of categorize all the information, you know, and move it to where it should go. It's a very orderly way of working. So I've got all the locals here, the generals with modalities here, dreams, delusions, etc. here. So you can just copy, paste information. So let's say you create tags for all of these things, like you create a tag that says this statement belongs to the kingdom or the sensation. Then you right click, show only that. So let's see the things that relate to metals, you know, being persecuted, battling, wearing armor. So these were things that indicated to me that maybe the patient case, you know, could be a metal. Okay, so I'm aware of the time. I think we've got to the end of the presentation. Oh yeah, there's one last thing to show you, and that's to check your content updater, because you get a lot of free stuff in the program. So to do that, you click on help, then go to check for new content. Needs to be an icon for this really. And you can widen this window. And then if you click here where it says available in, look at all the free stuff you get. So if you're using 2.2, you can download any of this. And some of them are free notes, so they're just PDF files. Some of them are like references or, you know, so they're provings that you can download, and then you can make additions from them if you like. So here we've got Todd Rowe provings by my father Misha and Peter Fraser. And then, you know, I've created some PDF files here that you can download. And by default, it shows you like only your new documents. Pretty sure I've downloaded everything here, but let's just see if I can find you. Anyway, hopefully that, you know, have a look at this content updater. Basically, if you click any of these headings, it will sort the information for you. So you can look at visible in, and you can see all the free notes. We could say available, free, or purchase. So you can see the things that you can buy there. And yeah, so this is the latest one. It's a Mapamundi PDF. If I click download, that goes straight into my free notes folder. You can see it says to open it, go to file, open free notes, say okay, file, open free notes. Then it opens your folder. And that's the document there. So I can double click and then click here, and you go to an interactive map on your web browser, which will introduce you to the Mapamundi, which has the different temperaments and elements in it. And you can click anywhere along here to see different information on that. So there we go. I can stop share if you like.
Okay, perfect. I think so far we got all the questions answered. We can take a couple more questions. I've been also typing a lot of the answers for people.
Oh, nice one. Great. That's super. I can give you the search query if you like.
Okay, perfect.
So if I put those in the chat, this is the thing with Zoom. Sometimes it doesn't seem to work when you just try and put a file in. So it didn't work there.
It didn't work. Okay.
What to do? No, sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah, I think we're good with questions. I'm not seeing any pop up. And yes, we are going to post this. I put the link to this recorded webinar. If you want to rewatch it, you can definitely rewatch it. And like I said, we'll have another webinar just on advanced search that I'll be doing soon for you guys, since there's a lot of interest. Okay, Tina is asking, can I put all downloaded labs in one area or folder instead of individual consoles?
All downloaded labs. That's like lab information, is it?
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't think you covered that, right, Luke?
This is to do with the patient file, I guess.
Yeah, and you know what, Luke? You can go over that, but I think I should have a whole webinar just on the patient file as well.
Yeah. There's a lot to it.
Yeah, there is a lot.
All downloaded lab. Tina, what do you mean by labs? Do you mean like lab reports or vaccinations or what? Tests. See, I'm not a doctor, so I don't usually use those things. So I'm maybe not the best person to ask.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Why don't we do this, Tina? We need to have a webinar on the patient file, and so we will have a whole webinar for that because there's so many questions and so much to go over as well. So we will make sure to get that. Okay. Perfect.
Amazing. I was just looking at all the answered questions. Look at that. Great.
Yeah, so thank you guys. I will put the recording link where everything will be posted again. Okay, so here we go. So webinar will be posted here in 3 days. Give me 3 days. Is Mappa
the Mappa interactive. Yeah, you can, once you click on the PDF that it opens in your browser, it's interactive on whichever browser you're using. So you'll move the mouse and you'll see a clickable option, and then you can just click anywhere you like to see the different information and just explore it that way.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. When I open it, it's not clickable. So you should open the main PDF that you download as a free note. There is a big button in the middle that says click for the interactive map, and that should open it in your browser. So that's certainly what it does when you're using preview on a Mac. I don't know if what does your computer use to open PDFs, Valerie? PC. What application opens when you click on the PDF? Adobe. Yeah. How strange. Well, I'm sorry. It certainly has a link available from that button, so hopefully you can find a solution to that.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you so much, Luke, for your time. We really appreciate it. This was very helpful. You got a lot of thank yous.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yay.
And yeah, thanks everybody for joining us.
Cool. No, that's not it. I think when I right click on the click for the interactive map button, it gives you the option to copy the link. Maybe you can do it that way. Try right clicking on it.
Okay.
So thanks for having me.
Okay.
Hope you all have great days and evenings.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll see you next time for the next webinar. Okay. Bye.